Assalamualaikum and good morning to Doctor and my fellow friends. We are from Group 4 are going to present about MFRS16, LEASE and COVID-19 related rank conclusions. First of all, my name is Siti Nur Shazana binti Madhari, metric number 272623. As a first presenter, now I will start the presentation on the summary of MFRS16. Firstly, the objective of MFRS16 LEASE is to make leasing transaction more transparent by eliminating of balance sheet lease. A lease refers to an implied or written agreement that details the term on which a lessor agrees to rent a property to a lessee. Lessees must apply the right of use asset accounting principle, which require the lessee to recognize an asset on its balance sheet that represent the lessee's right to use the leased asset throughout the lease term, as well as a corresponding liability for lease payment as required by MFRS 16. As a result, a lessee's current operating lease accounting model will be fundamentally altered, with an increase in the lessee's balance sheet asset and liabilities, and shift in the lessee's expense pattern away from generally straight-line operating lease expense and towards one that is heavily weighted at the beginning. Consequently, key performance indicators will be negatively impacted. The existing guidance applications lessor accounting methodology will virtually remain unchanged. This is because leasing is a revenue-generating activity for lessor. The revisions are designed to bring leasing closer to recently released revenue recognition guidance. In addition, the new standard will require more information about the lessor's asset and credit risk exposure. Rank conclusion has been granted to lessee or likely to be granted due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Conclusion may take on forms including payments holiday and lease payment deferral for a specific time, frequently followed by increasing rent payment in subsequent periods. If such rank conclusion fulfill the definition of a modification under MFRS 16, the business must follow the modification guidance, which can be difficult. The amended rule in MFRS 16 require an organization to account for a lease modification as a separate lease if specific criteria are met. Otherwise, the existing lease liability is remeasured using the revised discount rate. Lessee may encounter difficulties assessing and applying this standard to a high volume of COVID-19 related rank conclusions. That is all from me. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Alis Natasha binti Aizan. My metric number is 272649. Now, I will continue to present about theory in development of MRS 16. There are two theories in development MRS 16, which is normative theory and positive theory. Normative theory. The normative theory deals with the future event rather than past data, where it's pre-described what should happen or what should be done now based on theoretical principle. It seeks to establish norm for the best accounting practice, where it will be usual or typical that everyone must follow the standard. For example, it helps the licensee to decide whether to agree to rent a property to a lease. Next, MRS 16 aim to prescribe the user of financial statement with a clear knowledge of the accounting treatment for lease and COVID-19 rent related concession. This include provide the information about a concession that may take on many forms, include payment holiday and lease payment deferred for a specific time. Next, positive theory. The positive theory seeks to describe and explain accounting practice, begin, observe, and predict what is happen or expected to happen. It relies on objective data analysis, relevant fact, and associated figure. For instance, in MFRS 16, lease and COVID-19 rent The standard require lease to measure the lease use right of use asset accounting approach, which include the recognition of asset. An asset on the lease balance sheet represent the lease right to use the lease asset during the lease term, as well as the recognition of a corresponding liability for lease payment. This is why the lease balance sheet show an increase in both asset and liability. Okay, next is main party that involved in development of MFRS16. The main party involved in development MFRS16 lease and COVID-19 rent related concession or the Malaysian Accounting Standard Board, which is MASB. The Malaysian Accounting Standard Board MASB is an independent authority charged with development and issue accounting and financial reporting standard in Malaysia. It was created by the Financial Reporting Act 1997. MASB collaborate with the Financial Reporting Foundation (FRF) to produce financial reporting framework in Malaysia. Other than that, MASB also play a role in issuing new accounting standard as approved accounting standard. MFRS was established in April 2016, which replaced the existing MFRS 117. As mentioned, the establishment of MFRS16 lease is identified with IFRS 16 lease that was established IASB, which is a private body that established standard and has been adopted by the MASB. IASB is a private sector body that is independent in development and approve the international standard IFRS. IFRS was established earlier in the year 2001 to replace other standard. In related to the COVID-19 rent related concession, MASB play a role by issuing the adoption of MFRS list, which were identified issued by IASB that implement by the MASB for financial reporting standard in Malaysia. It is to make work easy for leaser to account for any COVID-19 related to lease, such as temporary rent deduction. This change was made by MASB to continue provide useful information about lease to investor even during the pandemic. This shows that the MASB is concerned with the lease payment that bring difficult for accounting in financial statement.
Hi, Assalamualaikum and a very good evening to Doctor and my fellow friend. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. I am Farhani binti Mahmud with metric number 273327, and today I would like to explain to all here regarding the basis used to verify MFRS16 leases and COVID-19 rent related concession. There are three bases for testing a theory, which is dogmatic, self-evidence, and also scientific basis. However, in the case of MFRS16, only dogmatic and also scientific basis are counted in. Dogmatic basis, which is the belief in a statement or reading material made by authority simply because of their position or they are someone that can be relied on. We believe that MFRS16 leases is based on dogmatic basis as it is published by Malaysian Accounting Standard Board (MASB) that is derived from IFRS 16 leases by International Accounting Standard Board (IASB). As we know, IASB is the main sources of reference in terms of standards, as it explains and summarizes every detail and any amendment related to the standards. MFRS16 leases and COVID-19 rent-related concession is a standard that is also verified by scientific basis, which is verified through testing, research, and also experimentation with the support of empirical evidence. We believe that the standard is derived from scientific basis, as IASB has published the exposure draft and also comment letter regarding both MFRS16 and also COVID-19 rent-related concession, which shows that a thorough research and testing has been conducted before declaring anything regarding the standard. Empirical evidence can be shown regarding the research that has been conducted, which is the research data. Besides, academic research on leasing has been conducted to find potential justification for its widespread adoption, where there are also a few theoretical arguments for leasing, but one in particular that stands out is about off-balance sheet financing. Next, we move forward to the nature of MFRS16 leases that we believe is principle-based in nature, which are conducted on communication, attempting to guide the practitioner to make the best judgment and also decision. MFRS16 comprises of principle-based accounting standards due to its wide guideline that may be applied in a number of situations. Principle-based are frequently used for guidance, meaning that in contrast to rigorous rules, guidance offers the user with many accounting options for a transaction. MFRS 16 has established the principles for the recognition, measurement, designation, and also disclosure of leases in order to guarantee that lessors and lessee provide important information that accurately depicts such transaction and provide a basis for users of financial statement to examine the impact of leases on an entity's financial statement. MFRS 16 provide options to select between several methods of responding to regulation. The justification for classifying MFRS 16 as principle-based is also that it serves more references to accounting principle in conceptual framework. It is a set of principle-based standards that relies on accounting theories, concepts, and also principles that are related to a well-developed conceptual framework. It provides a clear and understanding of standards accounting purpose. Furthermore, MFRS 16 uses a fundamental concept of professionals with the intent of developing guidelines rather than stringent regulation. So I guess that's all from me. My friends therefore will explain further about the standards.
Hello, my name is Muhammad Huzairi Amin bin Haris Adili. I will continue the video with the limitation of MFRS 16 and COVID-19 related rent concession. So, what is the limitation? So, for me, the limitation is the hardship or the challenges that faced by the lessor or the lessee. MFRS 16, as we know, is a guideline for the lessee in lease accounting. So, it's kind of hard to apply in the COVID-19 season. So, they made a new amendment to ease the lessee. But everything has their hardship or the challenges when we try something new. So, these are some limitations of MFRS 16 and the COVID-19 related rent concession. The first limitation is adaptation of the lessor and the lessee. When we first encounter new problem or new changes in our life, it's quite hard to adapt with it. So the same thing goes to the new amendment. The new amendment may give the guideline for the accountant about how to organize it. But in terms of practical, it's quite hard. It's still hard to do. So, especially for the lessee, they have changes in the scope and the consideration in lease. So they may have a hard time to determine whether their specific rent concession is in lease modification or not. As for the lessor, when the scope of releases increase and the consideration changes commensurably, the separate lease may exist. So, they still need to assess the lease changes and check whether these fall within the clauses and determine whether they constitute a lease modification. So, the second challenge is for the lessor to determine whether variable lease payment or spreading effect of the rent concession is to be applied. So if they choose to use the variable lease payment and the rent concession is recorded as a negative variable lease payment, then the lessor may recognize the overall rent reduction by the lessor lease income. The last limitation for me is the income recognition before receiving cash. What happens if the lessee does not pay cash for the lessor, then the lessor may find the difficulties to manage their business, and they may be unable to foresee any future distribution to the firm due to lack of the income. That's all from me. I pass it to my friend.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hi to all of my friends. My name is Nur Shazwan binti Ramli, meeting number 273250, and today I will present about suggestion to overcome the limitation of MFRS16. Okay, let's see relief in a form of optional assumption for determining whether COVID-19 related rank concessions is the fit specific criteria constitute a license modification. Lessee have the option of accounting for eligible rank concessions in the same manner that will work for lessee admins. The concession will almost always be accounted for a variable disagreement. Despite that every concession given a lessee has a proposition effect of the lessor. The IASP acknowledged that lessor circumstances are different. Lessor accounting did not affect so much as a result of IFRS16, and many concessions provide to lessor for a lessee and accounted for operating lessee by a lessor, which have a less restriction than lessee accounting. Unlike accounting rules for lessee, IFRS16 does not include accounting requirement for lessor, which when lessee payments are not considered as modification. As a result, IFRS16 mentions that IASP would have create a new rules which would have an impact the interplay of IFRS16 lessor accounting requirement and associated standard in IFRS 9 financial instrument, and also IFRS 15, which is revenue from contract and with customer. And they also might have a result in unexpected outcome, especially considering the speed with the adjustment would have to be made. Thank you.